There is a place, there is a moment, there is a feeling and escape from your ordinary way. There is a place, there is a time, there is a reason to make today an extraordinary day. Look what you're missing, look what you're missing. There's a world for you to see, paradise to set you free. Look what you're missing, look what you're missing. Come along, I'll take you there, an adventure we can share. There is a place.
This time on Look What You're Missing, we're going back to the 19th century. We're also going to pass through the site of one of South Africa's worst natural disasters. Along the way, we're going to find out a little more about a lesser-known Anglo-Boer War battle. We're going ghost hunting in the Sewe-Wexpoort, and in a few days' time on the way home, we get to ride through the most amazing Anaceberg Nature Reserve. All of this into my favorite areas, the Ceres and Klein Karoo.
Every area is his favorite riding area. But in this beautiful land, who are we to argue? Anyway, we'll also introduce you to a couple of lesser known gems we found to stay at, and there'll be loads more tips, tricks and useful information applicable to exploring by motorcycle.
We started this adventure just outside of Ceres at the first lookout point from the top of Mitchell's Pass, which we've just ridden up. And we stopped here because from here you can see something that I find very interesting. Back there is a little rock pool that the locals will tell you is called the Coffee Pot. And the Coffee Pot, by all accounts, is the headwaters of the mighty Breda River.
Now Mitchell's Pass is short for a pass, but what a fantastic ride, whether you're going up or down. But it wasn't always this easy.
Now in the days of Jan van Riebeeck and the other early explorers of the Cape, the main road to the north came via the Nieuwekloof near Gouda. It then went past present-day Tulbagh and up here through to Ceres. Until 1765 though, the only way to get a wagon up here to Ceres was to dismantle it, load it onto pack animals, and then follow the treacherous path next to the river that flows through the kloof where Mitchell's Pass is today.
In 1765, Jan Mostert, who had a farm at the mouth of the valley, built a road to Ceres at his own expense, which was certainly an improvement. The original new road as we know it was constructed in 1846 when Colonel Charles Mitchell commissioned road builder Andrew Gettysbane to undertake the building of the new road to Ceres.
There was also a pay point for the travellers to the diamond fields in the north, and today the old toll house, situated just below the railway crossing in Mitchell's Pass, is a cosy restaurant. It's also been declared a national monument.
Alright, so you've got everything we need for this weekend?
Of course.
I don't know, man, because those modified shopping bags you carry does not look like they carry everything we need.
As opposed to having an old army trommel strapped to either side of your bike.
Exactly.
But really, Henk, I thought we'd sorted this out, or at least I thought we got somebody to sort this out.
Alright, I suppose we did. So let's have a look at something we filmed a while ago when we popped in one day at the Flying Brick in Cape Town to ask our friend Chris Grinton for some more information about motorcycle luggage. And more specifically, the pros and cons of, well, modified shopping bags or proper panniers.
Hi, my name's Chris from Flying Brick Motorcycle Accessories in Cape Town. Orange or blue, KTM or BMW, blondes or brunettes, cat or dog person, Land Cruiser or Land Rover, or hard or soft luggage? That is the question. Now covering the advantages of hard panniers. Hard panniers have several advantages. They're normally water and dust proof in the extreme. No water and no dust on the inside. Another thing is they're very secure, fit firmly to the bike and aren't easily tampered or stolen. Other advantages of hard luggage are that they fit very easy to the bike. Simply clip on, clip off and lock. No messing around with fiddly straps. As a further addition, they can be fitted with soft bags inside the panniers, meaning you don't have to take the pannier off the bike. You can simply remove the inner pannier bag and take it to your tent, B&B, hotel, etc. And the following morning, simply bring that back to the bike, reinsert it into the pannier boxes, and away you go. And now on to some of the advantages of soft luggage. Firstly, soft luggage is very lightweight. It is far lighter in weight than aluminium boxes. Less strain on the back of the bike, less overall weight. Secondly, soft luggage will not cause a problem in the event of an accident with the rider or pillion's legs. Soft edges won't cause any injuries. Thirdly, unlike in the older days, soft panniers and soft luggage is now much more waterproof and dustproof than before. I'll now demonstrate why these bags are waterproof and dustproof. By simply releasing the clips and opening the outer bag, there is an inner bag that is completely dust and waterproof. That can be taken into the tent, the B&B, the hotel, and the following morning reintroduced into the bag. Finally, soft luggage can fit on a very wide variety of motorcycles, whereas hard luggage does have its limitations. In conclusion, soft luggage is available for the side of the motorcycle, which is pillion friendly, or it can be seat top mounted, such as the Flying Brick luggage system. This morning, an overlander came into a store with his pannier. He has just traveled 14,000 kilometers from Ukraine all the way down into Cape Town, and tomorrow he leaves back for his hometown. He chose hard panniers. The choice is yours.
Well, thanks, Chris. Very informative and good arguments for both types of luggage. And now, let's get back on the road.
So from here we make a brief stop in Ceres to refuel and grab some supplies. And then guys, it's off to the endless horizons of the Tankwa Karoo. I can hardly wait to get out there.
You know, the one thing that I love about Ceres is that it doesn't matter which direction you enter or leave Ceres from, you will get to ride a spectacular mountain pass every single time. Now, how many other little dorpies in South Africa can boast something like that?
Founded in 1849, when after the completion of Mitchell's Pass, the first plots of land were sold. Ceres is one of the top fruit-growing regions in South Africa, and it fittingly bears the name of the Roman goddess of agriculture. The Ceres Valley has a rich history with some of the oldest farms in South Africa situated here, and many fruits are grown in this fertile valley. And for travellers, well, you can leave Ceres in just about any direction and find adventure. From here you can easily head either into the Cederberg or the Tankwa Karoo.
So we're about 12 kilometers from Ceres now on the R46, and this is where you can get to make the first choice of your trip if you so want. If we carry on straight here, we're going to get to the Karoopoort via the fantastic Thoronsberg Pass. And if we go right here, we'll get to the same place via the Swartmoed Pass. Now both sets of passes are tar, both sets of passes are equally scenic, and both sets of passes were seemingly made with motorcycles in mind. So sometimes it's actually just easier to decide like this.
So heads, Thoronsberg Pass, tails, Swartmoed. Heads it is, Thoronsberg Pass. Now the Thoronsberg Pass and the Karoopoort form part of an old wagon route used by the late 19th century travellers from the Boerland into the interior, before the advent of the various passes that now form part of the N1 highway. Now there are no two ways about it. The gentle corners and superb scenery of the Thoronsberg Pass are best experienced from behind the handlebars of a motorcycle.
So we've stopped here at the turnoff to the R356 to Sutherland, where we're once again just going to prepare the bikes a little bit more for gravel travel. So the guys behind me are letting down the tyres a little bit, and then we're going to set our electronic aids just before we pull off to our preferences. And for me, that's traction control and ABS completely off.
Now in the last set of episodes we covered the very basics of the standing position. We also mentioned looking ahead so you can plan your lines and see any obstacles well in advance. So today we're going to give you a few tips on getting this machine turned.
But before we get into that, please just remember that all the information we'll give you in these programs is really just aimed at giving you some basic knowledge about riding these adventure machines. It can never replace what you learn at a proper academy from a qualified instructor. So do yourself a favor and look up one of the local riding schools in your area, because you can only benefit from proper training. So anyway, last time Henk got to stand and look pretty, and today it's my turn.
Okay, so when making a turn out on the gravel road on one of these motorcycles, your feet are in fact just as important as the handlebars. The idea is to keep downward pressure on the bike, or even the weight distribution on the front tire, and you do this by weighing the outside foot peg as you enter the turn. So when entering a turn to the left, you need to put your body weight on the right foot peg, even pushing your body out to achieve this. This ensures that whilst the force of the wheels is going towards the outside of the turn, your body weight from above the bike in fact keeps it from sliding out.
And just remember, even though you're going through a turn, you still need to be looking ahead and planning where you want to go. It's a fact, you go where you look. It's called target fixation. So don't focus on the pile of rocks or the hole next to the road. Look ahead through the turn at where you want to be, and you will find that almost magically that is where you end up, seemingly without trying. And also remember that practice makes perfect. So begin by trying out these techniques at lower speeds by doing circles and figure of eights to find out how weighting the outside peg of the motorcycle affects its handling. Because the physics of turning a motorcycle don't change that much when you apply speed.
Once you've traveled through the Karoo Poort, you enter a seemingly prehistoric world. A place of vast plains and endless blue mountains. A land of enchantment and mystery. The Karoo has a harsh climate with very little rain, fiery summers and bitter winters. Occasionally it surprises with incredible cloudbursts and sometimes floods. It is an invigorating environment considered highly health-giving. When the Earth was much younger, about 280 million years younger in fact, the Karoo we know was a vast swamp. Over the ages, this swamp of vastness where prehistoric reptiles ruled disappeared and gradually changed to a desert. The rugged beauty and eternal rock layers hide the secrets of this ancient land, guarding them for the caring few. Those who come here and linger in its vastness soon sense the magic here and are forever drawn back to the world's largest plain of its kind outside Asia.
So we've just stopped here on the gravel road that runs between Sirius and Markiesfontein for a break. And in fact, here we head off north-northeast to our accommodation for the evening. But just look at this, or rather listen. It's almost like you can hear the silence. And in fact, I'd have no problem pitching my tent right here for the night, because every time I get out here, I just have this overwhelming feeling of contentment. I really do just get instantly happy, because these wide open plains and those blue mountains back there, this is where I like to be. The sad part is though, that for most people, these more remote areas that we like to explore are just a never-ending, let's get the hell out of here expense of nothing that they race by as they move to and from the big cities up north or along the coast. Let me tell you something, they are missing out.
And for the most part, the gravel roads out here lend themselves to just having a fantastic time on your motorcycle. Because they're mostly good, hard-packed and seemingly well-maintained roads. No real funny stuff at all, allowing you that extra bit of freedom to take it all in without compromising on your safety, of course.
And from here we head even further into the interior to a truly off the beaten path campsite called Gatsrivier, where Net and Henny are going to look after us tonight. I really love these more remote campsites because you can sort of imagine to yourself that you're the first traveller ever to come this way. And the road between here and Gatsrivier, if you're on a motorcycle of course, is nothing short of awesome and includes something called the Meishonsbergpas. So we come across farm gates fairly often on our travels. Some are open, some are closed. And the golden rule of farm gates is that you leave it as you found it.
Now farmers either close or open gates for very good reason. For instance, they may have a herd of sheep in the one camp and the water for the animals in the adjoining camp. Therefore the gate between the two camps is left open. If you close the gate and cut the animals off from the water, it may have very serious consequences out here, especially in summer.
The other side of the coin is where a farmer is trying to keep his ewes and his rams separated to avoid pregnancy and unwanted lambs at the wrong time of the year. So you come along, you leave the gate open, nature takes its course, and we've left these folk with a whole lot of problems. So please make sure that you leave the gates as you found them. And if you're traveling in a group, the best way to make sure that animals don't escape through an open gate is for each rider to wait at the gate until the next rider arrives before moving on.
The Ceres Karoo, secretive and full of wonderful surprises, forms the backdrop to the Gatsrivier holiday farm. Here, on the banks of the Ongeluks River, you will experience the Karoo in its full diversity. The The topography of the Gatsrivier holiday farm in between the Roggeveld Mountains and the Kudusberg Mountains is responsible for various little mountain streams. It also has beautiful rock formations forming the background for some wonderful hiking trails and 4x4 routes. There are definitely not many campsites in South Africa which equal Gatsrivier in terms of how much thought and effort that has gone into it. There are also a variety of tastefully decorated and very comfortable cottages that you can stay in.
So each campsite has its own patch of absolutely perfect grass. You also have your own braai, your own complete set of braai utensils. When you get here, there's always a nice pile of wood waiting for you so you can get your fire going immediately. And something I haven't seen before, each campsite has its own water mister to keep you cool during the hot summer months.
Then there's the splash pool, the lapa and the ablutions. Now they may easily be acceptable in any really expensive resort. Simply fantastic. Plus, your host will do anything for you, from arranging braai packs to making sure there's a cold one for when you arrive, or even doing catering for groups. Really, nothing is too much of a problem. It's a really awesome place, which I'm quite glad we found.
Where did you find it?
On your favorite website, of course.
www.wilddog.za.net.
Ek wou net 'n plek kry vir rustigheid, wegbreek. Waar mense jy weet weer jouself kan wees. Dit moet nie te ver van die stad wees nie, maar ook nie te naby nie. En in die natuur skoon nie so in die rustigheid, ja. Die ou huise het is almal probeer regmaak na sy oorspronklike staat toe.
Weet jy, ons het baie gekamp en als in Henny het 'n ontsaglike goeie idee gehad van hoe 'n kampplek moet lyk en wat hy wil hê.
Ja, ons wil nie te modern gegaan het nie, maar jy weet soos ambities is veral vir vrouens, dit is onhandelbaar. Jy weet, dat moet reg wees. Jy weet, dat jy, ons het swart wildebees ingekry, ons sal bokke sien, swart wildebees, en jou normale duikers, steenbokkie, klipspringers. Ons het 12 routes hierso, 10 wat amptelik wat ou kan ry, van hulle moet nog name opkry, maar hy is van graad 1 tot baie moeilik, graad 5 jaar. Ek het ook altyd gesê, jy weet, hierdie 10 penne oom of 10 tou oom mekaar slaan, dit het nog nooit vir my gewerk, waar ek gekamp het nie, jy weet, en ek wou dit wat ons gedoen het, dat ou voel uit 'n bietjie privaat. Ja. En dan natuurlik, wat baie ook hier gebeur is, mense wat kom kamp, fietsry, maar hulle stuur die kinders soggens gaan ry, hulle en hulle ry wyd, jy weet, dis veilig, absoluut veilig hier so.
Oh, Gatsrivier is lovely. It's so isolated. It's a long route in over some tricky. It's mixed roads.
Ek is mal oor die natuur. Of dit nou is met hike of rock climbing of wat ook al. Ek weet baie mense sê hulle kan baie dink op die motorfiets, maar dis vir my 'n tyd wanneer ek bietjie kan afskakel en nie dink aan allerlei goeders nie, want ek bietjie moet konsentreer oor wat om my aangaan ensovoorts.
The scenery is fantastic. The people are exceptional.
You come in the morning and it's like being in a 5-star hotel with fruit and yogurt and mueslis and fresh bread that's just been baked, and while you're eating this you can smell the bacon and the eggs and the sausage being cooked.
It's time for you and the bike and the road and your mind just to be on your own. There's no one calling you, no one asking you for anything.
You should really plan to spend more than just a quick weekend at Gatsrivier, because there really is just that much to experience. On a game drive with Henny, we suddenly found ourselves learning about geology, history, and the flora of the area. We also learned about the various animals found on the farm. We were even taken to a favorite eating spot of a resident leopard, where we could see clear evidence of the big cat. A truly amazing experience, and our only regret is that we didn't spend more time there.
So while I'm busy with it, here's a quick tip for packing your sleeping bag. I pack it straight into the pannier without its stuffed bag. That way I can make it take up as much space as I need it to. The more space I need, the more I compress it. Also stops my other items in there from bouncing around. So we're up fairly early today because we have a very long day ahead of us. After breakfast, we're heading off to the historic little town of Maatjiesfontein. We're going to have some time there to explore a bit and learn some of the history. And then later on, we get to Laingsburg, a town that was all but wiped out by the terrible floods way back in 1981.
And later this afternoon we get to visit the site of a little-known Anglo-Boer War battle, before heading off to overnight accommodation at the Gamkaspoort Dam. So let's get going. Awesome gravel roads and stunning scenery, all after a hearty breakfast. Now I can think of nothing better.
So these are almost perfect gravel roads. For the most part, they all have a good surface. The vistas are a veritable feast for all your senses. At times you can see the road for kilometers ahead, and you can become quite relaxed while riding your motorcycle.
But you should never allow yourself to become too relaxed, and here is a good example of why. There's a couple of these that jump out of nowhere at you. And this well-hidden 90-degree turn brings one thing to mind. How do I slow my bike down really quickly?
Accelerating is probably the first skill we all learn on a motorcycle, because that's probably what attracted us to motorcycles in the first place. Just twist the throttle and enjoy. Simple, right? But the skills required to stop one of these machines are a little more complex. So let's have a look at the basics of effective braking.
The very act of braking transfers weight from the rear tyre onto the front. Now, with most of the weight on the front tyre, the most effective stopping power lies with the front brake.
Effective braking is also reliant on the traction of the tyres, and so again, with the chassis loading the weight onto the front tyre as you apply brakes, driving it into the ground, that's where you have the most traction, and therefore the most stopping power.
You can help load the front tyre by pushing both the front and the rear brake, applying more pressure to the front as it bites more. If you feel the tyre is losing traction, ease off on the front brake until the tyre is rolling again, because you never want to lock the front tyre, ever.
You can also help slow your motorcycle down using the natural resistance of the engine by changing down a gear or two as you approach the bend or stop. But you probably won't have time, and there's little point to trying to use engine braking in an emergency situation.
The same principles apply to both normal and emergency braking, although with emergency braking everything happens in a much more aggressive manner.
And remember, when you're emergency braking on a gravel road, you're obviously going to have more control when you're standing. And another thing that can assist you is a locked back wheel. In fact, that's what most of the experts and some of the top trainers recommend. Lock it up and forget about it. That way you can concentrate on applying as much front brake as possible without locking the front wheel and also controlling the skid. And remember to also shift your weight back while you're braking.
Now, whether you eventually prefer to lock the rear wheel or not, locking the rear wheel in a controlled slide is in fact a useful skill to learn. It'll not only aid you with braking, but also turning to some degree.
It's really worth investing some time in practicing your braking and emergency braking. Take 2 cones and see how far you can shorten your braking distance over time, so that one day when you need to be ready, you will be.
So this is Matjiesfontein, South Africa's largest collection of Victorian buildings, masquerading as a town.
And we're told if you want to know anything about this little town, well, there's only one person to speak to. So let's go see if we can find him. Unfortunately though, our time is up. So if you want to see what Johnny's got to share with us, you're just going to have to tune in next time. Until then,
ride safe
and look after yourself.